Hey everybody, Steve Stedman here. I just wanted to share with you a video that I did outlining getting in and out of the Sandy Point Harbor with a 47-foot boat that's 13 feet wide. Overall, our draft is about 3.5 feet, but I like to call it 4 feet just to be safe. Anyway, that's the depth below the water line, and coming and going from Sandy Point Harbor is a bit of a challenge due to sand piling up and the need for it to be dredged. Or not just sand, but sand and rocks. Here we go, heading out, April 2024, and one of the first videos of the entrance by boat of the year for me. Every year this changes a little bit. Please do not take this video as any kind of an indication that it is safe to do any kind of boating in or out of the canal entrance. Use your own discretion. Now, for the duration of this video, I've got two different angles. One is the camera, the large screen that's on the bow of the boat, and giving kind of the upfront view. The other is at the flybridge, which is up top, which is the point that I'm steering from. This boat doesn't have any fancy bow thrusters or anything that's going to give us any kind of sideways push at all. We simply have two inboard engines with a propeller on each one and a rudder behind those propellers. That's our only steering capability there. If you have thrusters of some kind, bow thrusters or stern thrusters, you might have an easier time here than we do. So as we head out past the condos here, we will take a left after the condo dock, and you don't want to head immediately for the canal opening at that point. We'll see that in just a moment. But you got to be careful going through here, make sure there's not too much wake. Wake can do a whole lot of damage to boats and docks, so keep it slow, keep it chill. Take your time heading out. Today we're at about a 5.5 foot tide on a Saturday in April, and 5.5 to 5.2 is about the minimum tide we need to be able to get out with this boat. If you had a boat that had tilt-up outboards, you could probably get, well, I know I could get out with a much lower tide, but you need to really understand what's the required tide for your boat and what are the currents doing. There's really three factors here that go into being able to get in and out. One is the depth of the water. Two is how fast is the water moving. And three is what is your skill or comfort with your boat and your ability to control it. Of course, combined with the boat itself and the depth. Right now we've got about a 5.5 foot tide. It's not a real big exchange day, so there is some water flowing, but not super huge amount. Yeah, and I'm fairly comfortable with this. I've been using this harbor entrance for, 30 years almost now. We'll see how it goes. As we round the corner by the condos dock, we head for a point that's midway on the South Cape. There is oftentimes a board that someone puts up there or a log that has an orange or yellow marker on it over time. And we're not going to head west at this point. We're headed almost south, and we're looking for, there's a white buoy down there that sometimes kind of gets in the way, and there's a green buoy. We certainly want to be on the left-hand side as we approach the green buoy. There's in the upper picture, Marcia's gone up on the bow to take a look and look out for things for me. And she'll be, of course, shouting at me if we run into any trouble. As we approach here, we can see a buoy coming up on the left. That would be the white buoy, and that marks a bit of the sandbar on the inside. But generally, by this level of water, that's pretty insignificant. The water is usually deep enough there. And then we see the green buoy on the right side, which is tipped over a little bit. You can oftentimes judge the current by how tipped over those buoys are. If there's no current, they're sticking straight up and down. If they're completely submerged, it's just ripping current. And we're going to go all the way here to avoid the sandbar in pretty close to that South Cape area there. And we're going to pivot the corner. Now at this point I'm steering by putting one engine in forward and one engine in reverse to be able to pivot the boat and get us pointed in the right direction. There's just not enough room there with this size of a boat to be able to make the turn. As we head out, we're about halfway between the white no-wake buoys and the sand or the beach on the south side of the bay there. Those white no-wake buoys are in the middle of the sandbar, so we usually want to be a little bit closer to the beach side here than we are to those no-wake buoys, because there's a pretty significant sandbar there. I recommend coming out at like a negative tide or a 0-foot tide and walking around and taking a look what this looks like, or maybe coming out in a smaller boat or a dinghy. Here we've got the obstacle of the rocks coming down on the left side. We want to avoid those. We stay close, but we want to make sure we avoid them. And here we try and keep it mid to slightly left of mid of the channel as we're headed out. And keep in mind, this is a point where we're kind of in the danger zone, that if another boat is oncoming, there's not a lot we can do at this point to, other than lay the horn on hard and loud. There's not a lot we can do to change our course at this point. And then as we get to the end, we don't want to go too far to the right up onto the beach there, so we're going to get just past the rocks at the end of the breakwater there. And once we know we're clear, and usually at this point I can look down and see where the rocks are, we're going to hang a sharp left turn and head out towards the red and the green pilings to safely get out of the harbor entrance. Anyway, a lot of factors go into this, from the level of the water, the amount of current, how much wind is pushing you around, what's your skill, what's the style of boat, how much controllability do you have with your boat. All those factors go into it, and I would recommend that you really get a good understanding of this entrance before ever attempting to navigate through it, unless you're on an extremely high tide. Hope you've enjoyed this. Hope this makes things a little bit safer for somebody. Have a great day.